back with 843 TV. We're continuing our discussion about the Camp LeJeune Act, and there's so much to learn about it.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we were talking earlier, and at this point, to our knowledge, there's been no decision made on any of these cases. So what I want Matt to explain is what specifically do you believe they're looking for, and how are they processing these claims, and what seems to be the problem here?
Well, initially there are the prerequisites that we've already discussed. You have to have been on Camp LeJeune during that time frame for at least 30 days, and they ask for that information in the claim form. They also ask for what medical condition the claimant believes is connected to exposure to these chemicals that were in the water at Camp LeJeune. There's a lot of misconception out there that if you have one of these medical conditions, you're going to be approved. That's just not the case, unfortunately. You still have to prove that the medical condition is linked and caused by the toxins in the water. So the Navy is going to have to ask for, at some point, supporting documents, expert opinions, medical records, to even be able to begin to think about approving claims. At this point, as of March 28th, no claims had been resolved. There's been a little bit of backlash. A member of Congress has been vocal about his disappointment in the Navy not acting. The Navy has released in the last 10 days some statements saying that they're committed to trying to resolve these claims. They've onboarded the claims, and they've acknowledged receipt, and that they're starting the process of reaching out to claimants or their legal representatives asking for more documentation. I don't think they've done that yet, but they're starting that process.
And one of the things that we've been very specific with is when we interview our clients, we bring them in and we get very specific details about where they were living, or where they were working on Camp LeJeune, so we can identify the water source, because we do know from all of the studies what contaminations and what chemicals were in specific water sources, and they're not all the same.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the issue about that is not all these chemicals are causing the same complications or medical problems.
Seems very complex.
Well, exactly. It is complex because not all of the base was contaminated. There were only really 2, and at some points 3 water treatment facilities on LeJeune out of the 8 that had contaminated water. One was exclusively a family housing area, and the other serviced a lot of the facilities and barracks and other housing on the base, and also the schools. So we're seeing people that lived in those areas with these medical conditions caused by the organic
Do you mind
compounds.
sharing what might be an example of a medical condition that?
Sure. What happened was the government, when they found out that these contaminants were in the water, they went out and they searched and searched and searched for any study they could find that showed a higher incidence of cancers or other diseases related to these toxins. And so the cancers and medical conditions that have a higher incidence due to these toxins are things like bladder cancer, liver cancer, kidney cancer, Parkinson's, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, birth defects, specifically heart birth defects, some kidney diseases, mostly diseases that are systemic because the water's ingested and goes through organs. So even though there hasn't been any statement that those are presumptive conditions, that the causation is there, the link is there, those are the conditions that most people agree the studies support a link of a higher incidence of disease.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're being very selective and looking at those very, very particular. So it's a tough job.
Yeah. So in our area here, can you give us an idea of how many clients you might have been involved to talking with? Seem to be a lot of cases around here.
Oh gosh, we've handled many phone calls, hundreds of phone calls, and we've taken probably about 1/3 of the cases that have called us.
So bottom line, if you have questions, if you think you might be somebody who might have a case, just to give you a call, contact you, and you'll sit down with them and start the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, great stuff. Thanks for all the great work you do in our community. It's always fun to hear the new things you're involved in, and we're glad that you all are watching 843 TV, where communities come to speak.